All right, folks. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to make this video pretty quick, um, mostly just because at this point, hopefully, you've taken a quiz. You're pretty knowledgeable on how to solve them. The only thing I wanted to mention is there will be times when you're, and mostly with word problems, to be honest with you, but if you're ever given a system of equations where you have to create one for a word problem, they might not tell you how to solve it. And so just wanted to show you a couple of things to keep an eye out for. We've kind of already talked about it a bunch, so I don't really think that this is something that's going to challenge you too much. But basically, you just need to decide substitution or elimination. And look, if you like a specific method, um, you can make it work. Just know you might have to do some rearranging. Okay. Now, what I did not realize is when I created this worksheet, um, is they're all they're all lined up. If you look at all of these, you could do elimination with all of these, every single one of them. They're all lined up. X on top of X, Y on top of Y, number on top of number. I did not realize that. I did not mean for that to happen. I did not want that to happen. That was just me in a rush before I left. So you could do elimination for all of these. However, I do want to show you that, substitution shouldn't bag it. It's still a good method, and in some ways, it's easier once you're done with, plugging in. The problem does get a little shorter on the back end, and so what I mean is this. So, with this one, I look at it, I see everything's lined up, I immediately think elimination, and I can confirm that by seeing that. Okay, hold on a second before I say what I was going to say. I confirm that there's no easy variable to solve for. There's no variable already by itself. Anything I solve for is going to result in a fraction. Because if I solve for y here, I'm going to have to divide by 5. And if you look at all your other numbers, 8, 9, nothing divides nicely by 5. And if I were to solve for this one, for example, I'd be dividing by 2, and 3 and negative 11 are not going to divide nicely by 2. So there's nothing nice to divide by. You're pretty much automatically going to go to elimination, because solving for any of those variables is going to result in a fraction, which, hey, again, that's not to put any hate on fractions name. It's mostly just to say, hey, it's just going to be easier for us. And we can avoid the rounding if you make it a decimal, which could cause some issues there. So it's elimination. All right. If you want to write it there, you certainly could, to the problem you're going to do. And then, what am I going to eliminate then? Am I going to eliminate the x? Well, that could happen, right? One's positive, one's negative. And usually what you want to look at is making the bigger number into the smaller number into the bigger one. Because we're going to multiply. Multiply makes a number bigger. I'm thinking of multiply times 4. Then this would be an 8. And it would eliminate. And I also wanted to mention, look at y. There's no easy way to make 3 into a 5. Yes, they're both positive, or one's positive and one's negative. However, multiplication is going to be hard to get 3 into a 5. Again, without introducing decimals. We want to do this as simple as we can. Okay, so yeah, I would multiply the top times 4 in that case, and I'll let you guys solve it. But I would definitely do that elimination. Okay. Now, number 2. Again, it's all lined up, and you could do elimination if you want. I'm going to leave that up to you. However, I do notice when I am looking at my variables, I could solve for y. So in this case, I'd call this one a choice. The other one, I think you kind of have to go elimination. This one, though, I would say you can make a choice. I'm not going to tell you what you'd have to multiply by, but you're going to have to. But in both methods, you're going to have to make an adjustment, and so it ends up being about the same amount of work. I'm thinking though, why not just solve for y, and then you're ready for substitution. And so you just take that and plug it into the y in the other equation, right? So I know there's a lot of arrows going on there, but the red is just to show you I rearranged because I didn't have to divide. That's what I'm talking about here. There's no number that you have to divide by. So even if, all I'm trying to say there is you don't have to worry about fractions. So plug it in like that, and then you're ready to go. You have 3x plus 4, and then we replace the y with negative 2x minus 1 equals 11. And then you distribute and solve from there. And it ends up not being so bad. This is why I say, substitution. Don't want to throw it away because it ends up kind of not being so bad there. And we now have an equation solved for a variable. This one. So when we find x, which is going to end up being negative 3. I just did that quick in my head. You can finish that out. We can take negative 3 and plug it in for x. We already solved for y. So y equals 5. So that's why substitution, you can go back and pause that. But that's why substitution is not totally dead and gone. I think that actually might be, it's about the same amount of work. So that's your choice. So you could totally multiply, though, times negative 4 for elimination. Because I'm looking here, again, there's no easy way to make 2 into a 3. So multiplication, not exactly the easiest. But here, I do see that there's a y, kind of a blank canvas y, where I could say, well, I want that to be a 4, but I do need to also make it negative. So you could either do this one times 4 and this one times negative 1. Because then you have, that. And then this one would be, 8x plus 4y equals negative 4. And so you multiply everything times 4 in the bottom one, everything times negative 1, and then you have that negative 4y and plus 4y. You could do it that way, or you could just do it all at once. Make this a negative 4y, keep this one the same. And again, you have it. So there are options there. That's one of those ones I would definitely say you have a choice. But these next ones, I'm just going to go through and say, hey, again, not really an easy way to solve for any of these variables. Again, if I try and divide by 3 to solve for x, you're going to end up with a fraction. If I solve for y, it's just not going to happen. So I would look at elimination. And yeah, that one I would definitely look at elimination. The next one, sorry. Trying to hit these buttons. Come on now. There we go. The next one, again, you could really kind of go either way with this one, but I'm looking at a variable that is pretty much by itself. It would stay positive. Everything would stay positive there as you move the negative 3y across the equal sign, and then you could plug it in. But that one I'd say is a choice for sure. And then this one, again, it's all lined up. No easy way to solve it. I would definitely do elimination. So that's what I'm looking at there. Hope you guys have a great day.